I was diagnosed with a type 2 bipolar. I was already on the medication somehow. The medication was increased to 75 milligrams, and on that day, I was discharged. I went home, and then I started getting a fever. Later that day, the burning started to feel like itching. Every time I would scratch, it would like turn into like a fire. It would feel like there's something underneath my skin that is making my skin burn. I had a very rare but severe reaction called Steven Johnson's and toxic epidermal necrosis. I get up, I try to put my feet on the ground, and there's blisters under my feet.
No.
I can't put my feet on the ground. I'm still trying to eat so I can
drink that medication that is ending the fire.
Yes, ma'am. So at that point, I realized I need to call the ambulance now. Within like a day, they induced me into a coma that ended up being 6.5 weeks.
What?
I woke up, but my eyes were not open for the first. I don't know how long it was. So my eyes were stuck to my eyeballs. My own family thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
I think it's also like a measure of protection, you know. Fine, she's going to die. Let's just start accepting that.
I've been through the most. Been through the most.
Hola, Sanfam! Hello, hi, Sanbonani, Dumelang, Lochani, Huye, Mera, Huye, Aunt. From wherever you're watching from, welcome to I've Been Through the Most podcast with myself, Millicent, and my twin sister, Innocent. And of course, week in and week out, we're joined by incredible guests who share absolutely incredible stories that will change your life for the better. Yeah. Listen, they don't sit on the hot seat for nothing. Yeah. They sit because they have a hot story. And today, we're going to bring you just that. And of course, if you want to sit on the hot seat, simply send us an email. The email address is down below. We're also available on our different social media platforms. Please show us some love there. And of course, don't forget, right here on YouTube, make sure that you join the Sand Fam. It's absolutely free. All you have to do is to click on that subscribe button right now to make sure that you support the channel, the initiative, and you help us to grow and reach our target. But Millicent, where else can they listen to us?
They can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those audio platforms. I know when you're having those long distance drive or you're going to work, listen to the podcast and get some inspiration. But I think we need to get straight into it.
Let's get into the story. The lady who's here today, her name is Shaz, right? I first saw her on social media and I was like, listen, this is an I've been through the most kind of girl, okay? Her bravery, her story, her strength, her beauty is everything that we need to carry on in life. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
all the way from KZN.
KZN, deep in the roots of KZN. I am from a very rural, beautiful area called Enyoni in the north of KZN.
Oh, wow.
Enyoni. I've never heard of it.
Most people haven't. It's what we would call in English a reserve area. It's very natural, people there are sort of just like planting the food and raising the cattle and all that cute stuff. Yeah, so that's where I'm from. That's where I was born and raised. It was a beautiful childhood.
I was about to say, give us your background and how you grew up. What did you love doing? You know, do you have any siblings? Who raised you? Give us the backstory.
So I am 30, so I was born in 1994. My mom was 20 at the time. So my brother and I stayed with my gran in Enyun. So I was born there. And I think the decision, because my mom was quite young, so my gran to raise us for the first couple of years was made. So we stayed with my gran in this village with my cousins and, you know, my sisters. We call each other sisters, brother and sister. There's no cousins.
Yeah.
We were all siblings, brother and sister. So we stayed at Enyun until I was about 10. At this age, I think my gran finally agreed. She was quite attached to us, but she finally agreed to let our mom raise us at that point, and she was 30. So, so that's my mom's side. And then we moved to Richards Bay, and then from Richards Bay, we moved to Pinetown. My mom was young, so obviously she's working different things, she's traveling, she's finding herself. I mean, when we moved in with her, she was 30. So young, there's that. Then my dad, he's late now, but he was there's 10 of us from his side.
Whoa.
My dad had 10 children from 7 queens. But I didn't really grow up around that dynamic. It was he married someone else. He married one of the queens, of course. But he was in my life, in and out, and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what brings you here all the way? I mean, it's been a nice little wait.
It's
But the
really-
DM finally came through and you made it. So
The
tell
DM
us about
made
the
it.
story.
So what had happened was, there I was living my best life, or at least trying to get it to be my best life. Last year, I had just turned 30, and I wasn't happy with where my life was. I was really struggling to. My dad had passed away about 2 years ago, and I mean, you can understand that a big part of who I was the identity of being his child, us being, he's a big businessman. We always thought somehow we would work in the family business, and when he passed away, things didn't really turn out the way we had planned. It's nothing bad. It just turned out that way. So I sort of had to find myself again. I actually realized this recently, having a conversation with my sibling, is that a lot of like the mental turbulence I was experiencing was I felt like I was 30 and I had no idea what I was doing, and I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I was really struggling mentally. So I went into a mental health clinic. I saw a therapist, and they got me into a mental health clinic. I was put on medication immediately. I mean, it's a hospital, that's what they do. Before I was diagnosed with the type 2 bipolar. When I was diagnosed with the type 2 bipolar, I was already on the medication somehow. And when I was discharged, the medication was increased, the dosage of the medication. I was on a bunch of medications. I don't even remember what the other ones were called. But the one that I had the reaction to had the dose increased to 75%. So not 75%, 75 milligrams. So the medication I was on was called Epitech, right? And it is a mood stabilizer, but it's also used for, what's the thing where people like shake when they have, what's it called? Almost like Epitech. It sounds similar to Epitech. You know what I'm... Yes, that's it. That's it. Yeah. So it's used for epilepsy as well, and as a mood stabilizer, because now remember I've been diagnosed with a type 2 bipolar. And then the medication was increased to 75 milligrams, and on that day I was discharged. The same day that the medication was increased, it's the same day I was discharged to go home.
Okay,
And that's the day I got sick.
So you reacted to the medication. Now you're away from the hospital.
Yes.
So you basically reacted at home.
Yes.
So they increased it at the wrong time because now you're not monitored.
The exact day I was being discharged is the exact day I started getting sick. Strangely enough.
Getting sick how?
Okay, so I had a very rare but severe reaction called Stevens-Johnson's and toxic epidermal nucleosis. Stevens-Johnson syndrome is the lighter version of it. So when it affects 30% or less of your body, it's called Stevens-Johnson syndrome. And then when it goes up, it's called toxic epidermal nucleosis. And how the condition basically manifests, or how it manifested in my reality, is that I went home and then I started getting a fever the first day, right? But the fever is not like, it feels like very intense. I thought I was getting like coronavirus. But because I had been in a hospital, I thought I haven't been outside. So
the immune system is just adjusting.
And also the hospital was in Durban, and it was August. So was it August? It was the beginning of August. So we were still deep in winter. And the hospital I was in was in Durban, and I lived in Eshowe, which is like a different part of the province. So I thought, winter change. So I'm like, I'm getting a fever, but it was bad. It was bad. I was burning for real. The second day, so I went to the doctor the second day, and he confirmed that I had a fever. Catch is, the hospital that I was in did not tell me that this reaction was possible. And the box that this this medication comes in actually has a black box warning. So there are a couple of these crazy reactions. They are very rare, but they are possible. And they said they had counseled me. There is a form that I signed, so maybe on that form it had it. I wasn't careful with just like reading and all of that. So I highly recommend that we do a lot more of that when taking medication. That's just like the biggest thing. If you must take anything away from this, be careful with medication, because it can happen with anything. So what happened was I got the fever, I went to the doctor said you had a fever. And I went back home. He gave me, an injection, and I went back home. Later that day, the burning started to feel like itching. Like that feeling of pain and itching at the same time. And then every time I would scratch, it would like turn into like a fire. It would feel like there's something underneath my skin that is making my skin burn. But because I had no idea that something like this was even possible, you know, you don't think that your body is literally burning itself from the inside out, which is what this reaction does. It's a chemical burn. Your immune system attacks itself, and the mucosal membrane layers, which are just the layers of the skin, inside and outside, separate. Your immune system attacks itself.
Sure.
It's so crazy, right? So the second day, then I woke up the following morning with blisters, like that looked like hives, quickly, on my face, on my neck, on my arms. Like I was up half the night.
This is all happening at this, like,
2 days.
2 days.
In the
like,
span of 2 days.
the
But
space-
this is what I like, though. The fact that you went to the doctor after having a fever, because what people would normally do, you just take whatever is in the cupboard and you're like, okay, you know, but you took it serious from day one, but it just kept progressing. So what I want to know, did you continue taking medication? Because
Yes.
obviously you don't know that you're reacting from this medication. So this is getting worse, but you're continuing with
Petrol. I'm adding petrol to the fire. I'm adding petrol to the fire. Because now remember, I've been told that I also have a chronic illness. Bipolar type 2 is chronic, and it's a chronic mental illness. And if it's not treated, what's the word when something gets worse? Degenerative? Is that the word? When something gets worse instead of getting better, like when it's not treated.
it gets heightened, like,
But you know the
I'm
word.
sure there's a word. Yeah,
I think
would
it's
know the word.
degenerative, like
yeah,
it
but I
gets
think
worse.
it's good. Let's actually maybe define for people
Yeah.
who don't really understand
Yeah.
what is like bipolar. What does it mean? Stage 2.
Yeah.
Are there stages? I don't know. I just knew of bipolar.
Yeah,
Obviously.
I had no idea either. I had no
Sure.
I knew nothing about bipolar. I had been in therapy before. I had gotten a different diagnosis before, right? So I believe in therapy. Even the first time I went, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Like your life can change just in the best way, just from you looking after your mental health, tending to what is, you know, what you're struggling with mentally. And I was very lucky that my mom, even as an African parent in KZN, was someone who actually said when I was struggling that maybe you need help. It wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. It really wasn't. No one else would have known that I was struggling. But she saw that I wasn't myself. She said, "Your spark is gone. You're not being yourself. You're not. You know, you're hiding. Your confidence is not there anymore. So I think you need that help." So what I was struggling with, the bipolar diagnosis was a misdiagnosis apparently, because I have since gotten another one. But mental health illnesses and challenges overlap. That's the thing. It can look like something else and be something else. And also a psychiatrist or a psychologist in this case, because I didn't have any brain scans or anything, it's just someone who has knowledge, who has been qualified and has experience in this department, perceiving you in some way. So
literally.
literally,
Yes.
that's the crazy thing about it, is that we've all had life experiences, whether you're a psychiatrist or not. So we will always perceive the next person based on our life experiences.
100%.
Right? So yeah, there was that. So the whole type 1 is the one that we all know of, where everybody, it's manic, you get extremely excited, you can wake up in Dubai, you know, that's like the type
Yeah.
1. That's like the worst one.
The
basically.
worst one. Like
Yeah.
you completely like either high or low
Yeah.
or extremely low.
Completely
There's no in between.
depressive
There's no in
or
between.
manic. There's no in between. And depressive can go on for months, and manic can go on for months. Manic is actually like excited. It's like, ooh, I have this idea. People like Kanye West has type 1 bipolar. So someone like that. And some of them are extremely successful because they really believe so much in these ideas
that they actually get
And
so close to them.
Exactly. And they have the episodes long enough to be able to execute it.
Ooh.
But the thing with the episodes is that the reason why it's a chronic illness is because it's not triggered by anything. It can be like nothing
Unprovoked.
happened. Unprovoked. It's an imbalance, a mental imbalance, a chemical imbalance, right?
Yes.
So like how you would get dopamine hits, like there's reasons why you get it, maybe the weather, what you've eaten, just naturally a normal, on average, normal human beings get dopamine, you know, at certain times for certain reasons.
Yeah.
Someone with a bipolar can get big doses of dopamine for no reason whatsoever. And that can go on for days, weeks, depending on just like the type that you have. And then you can, for no reason as well, just crash. And you can be extremely depressed, and you can be extremely, for no reason. I mean, obviously in life, you will always have reasons, but With someone who's got a mental health condition like bipolar, you won't have any reasons.
Don't need a reason.
And what I think what my mistake was also with my therapy. I mean, I chose my therapist, right? He's amazing. He's really good at helping you account, right? And that's what I wanted. I felt like I was turning 30. I need to account for my nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever I'm failing with, I need to account. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to do the work. And that's why I chose him in this round. So I felt a bit let down that they just medicated me because I had reasons for the things that I was doing. I had reasons for all of that. But because my therapist also was not my race, he didn't really know much about my culture, which I realized might have been the mistake on my side because that might have been why he perceived, you know, the things. And I was extremely honest. I was completely honest about what I've been struggling with. And I don't know if everybody does that when they go to therapy. I mean, there's only so much you can take about a person before you go, oh no. But that's what I wanted to do, you know. And I mean, we have different types of therapists and psychiatrists. When you go there, you get a psychiatrist and a therapist. So I got a very happy pill psychiatrist. She loves pills. I'm not happy with what she did. Also because I was already on bipolar meds before I got the diagnosis. So I was already on a mood stabilizer. How do you even know after one day? You know? So yeah, that's just the dose of it. And type 2 is not so obvious. The one that I was diagnosed with, apparently, what I was saying to him, like, occasionally apparently he said occasionally I will be manic and occasionally I'll be depressive. So obviously I have a type 2. I don't relate to it. Even when I got the diagnosis, I called so many people and I was like, what do you think about this, you know? Because you never want to think anything can happen. You know? And it's okay. It's okay. Like it's like any physical illness. Someone who has diabetes, it's not necessarily their fault. It's an illness, you know. But I always want to be able to see myself like, and it was just not something. Especially because a lot of it is suicide. Like a lot of bipolar, the depressive episodes, people get very suicidal. I've never been suicidal for a single day in my life. I've never even thought about how I would kill myself. Even after I had this, of course I thought I would rather be dead, but I've never considered how I would execute my suicide. So, you know, so that was the reason why I didn't. But I still accepted it. I said, okay, let me take this medication, give me what I need, let's move on, you know? And the pills will make you so happy. Oh my God.
It worked.
Those happy pills they give you?
They happy pills for real.
They are happy pills, my girl. You wake up in the morning and you take that pill. That's why even when I was getting sick, I was like, at least my men's health's going to be okay. And it felt better, like, after taking it. Because it's doing the job that it's meant to do. But physically.
Mentally, but physically.
Petrol to the fire. I'm adding petrol. So I go first day, I tell the doctor, I've got a fever. He's like, you've got a fever, gives me an injection. I don't tell them that I'm on this new medication. I don't even think.
You didn't think it's related at all?
At all. So I go back home, now I've got the hives now. And my eyes, also because it burns you, it's burning you from the inside out. So my eyes are getting pussy now. It's getting crazy. My throat's getting sore. But then you think it's flu, you know. The symptoms are very flu-like. So I go back.
Is it like an allergic reaction and then flu symptoms?
It's an allergic reaction.
Because hives are so painful. I once had hives. It is just, yeah.
It's an allergic reaction. It's an allergic reaction at the end of the day because you react to the ingredient.
And your body is just saying, nope, something is wrong, but you can't figure out what.
And I can tell at this point, you know, it's just we ignore our intuition so much. And I can tell, like, at this point, when I wake up in the morning, I've got these hives, my eyes are pussy. I'm like, why are my eyes pussy? I've never had a problem with my eyes at all. This is why my eyes the situation with my eyes is the biggest challenge. Because I've had excellent vision. Like, every time I saw, like, an eye doctor, they always used to say, wow, your vision, excellent.
100%.
Wow.
Yes.
You know?
Sure.
So now I go to the same doctor again. I go back to the same doctor. I'm like, yo, brother.
So this is a GP?
The GP, yes.
Okay.
In my town. My GP that I'd used the whole time. And now, at some point in the night, I researched, you know, my symptoms. Because I was like, awake now. I'm burning, I'm itchy. Every time I itch a spot, it's so itchy you can't ignore. But as soon as you scratch, it's just like...
It becomes worse.
Your skin tears. It's either you leave it and there's a blister all of a sudden, or tears and the skin's open. And I'm like, what is going on? So I'm thinking I have chickenpox at this point. But I'm looking up my symptoms and Steven Johnson's came out, right? I do feel like we don't have a lot of... representation for colored skin on the internet when it comes to Steven Johnson's because what I saw was people who had purple marks on their bodies.
I see. So you couldn't see anything that you could relate to.
Yeah, I'm looking at myself and I'm like, nah, this
Can't be.
And I also think I just didn't want all that, like subconsciously. I'm like, yo,
It's a lot to deal with.
it's a lot to deal with. But this time when I go to the doctor, I take my medication because I know like it's for medication. now.
Yeah.
And I tell them I'm on this medication. He didn't even take the pack to open it. I really feel like if he ever sees this, I'm very disappointed in you, brother. He didn't even look at the pack. I told them I'm on this medication. Do you think it could possibly... I was actually crying when I went there because I was panicking. I'm like, this is actually... I don't know what's going on at this point. I'd never heard of anyone reacting for medication as well. So it was something that was really far from my brain, but I had seen it. So I thought, let me just tell him what medication I was on. Maybe it would help. You know, I'm panicking. I've got these blisters all over me. I just walked to the doctor because it was close, and the sun felt like when I got there, I was in so much pain that I started crying. And I'm telling him like I'm on this medication, and he was like, he said I got chickenpox. He said I have chickenpox because I'd never had it as a child. So he said it's chickenpox.
So,
Catch up.
woo,
Why
okay.
do you not check your medication
Like,
because you have it right there.
I mean, this is
I
the
had the pack.
second visit.
In one day, I
Right?
came back the following
So you
day.
couldn't help me the first time. So I'm coming back and I'm saying, please check this. This is the only thing I did differently
Yeah.
right now. So the right thing for him to do as a doctor is to at least read the ingredients on the box or something.
No. It's my fault for going to him. He is quite a very dismissive doctor. It's just for things like, you know, I've got a flu. It's very easy to go there. It's quick. He'll give you an injection. You go back home. That sort of thing. I didn't think it was that bad as well. But I thought he's a doctor.
He's a
So
doctor.
He knows what to do. If I'm telling
Yeah.
him that I'm on this medication. And he said, he looked at me, he looked at the medication, he hesitated. He said, if it gets worse, call an ambulance.
Haibo.
I had health insurance. He knows that. I could have easily gone to the hospital.
Yes, get test done.
If because he knows like how bad this thing can get, especially if it goes, you know, and like if it goes without any diagnosis, goes without treatment, it can get really bad. And instead of saying or having a look at my medication or having a closer look at me, because at some point he even said it's happening really quickly. Hey, this chickenpox. But still, he didn't take the extra initiative. So I feel like he really let me down with that. So I go back home, and the crazy thing with doctors is how much we trust them. Because even after he told me that, I got up and I literally walked to the pharmacy. Like the pharmacy was like about a kilometer away, but I felt so much better already because he told me that I'm fine. Hopping to the pharmacy, got medication,
Chickenpox meds.
chickenpox meds.
Ooh, Shaz.
And apparently the sun makes Steven Johnson's worse. So now I'm walking in a hot day.
In the sun.
For a
Exactly what you
kilometer.
don't need.
No, exactly what I don't need. I asked him about, I'm better now. Whoop. Went back home, took the medication. Now I have a pain in my throat. You know, I'm trying to eat, but I'm struggling. So I'm thinking, let me just eat something so I can take this medication. The signs were there. And I was staying with my mom at that time. And when I came back home, she wasn't. I came back earlier. Crazy thing is, even from the hospital, that mental health clinic, I was not meant to be discharged. I actually told them at that point, no, I want to go home. Because when I had gone there, you know, willing to do the work to help me sort of unpack and see what I'm struggling with and work with that and move forward. But now they're just medicating me. So why must I still stay here?
Oh, I hear you. Yeah.
How long was it?
So it was 2 weeks. It takes about 2 weeks for Steven Johnson's, the medication or whatever you're reacting to, it takes about 2 weeks.
Okay.
I reacted after 2 weeks. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Okay.
It takes about 3. They wanted to keep me in for about another 3 weeks. I mean, it's also what we need to understand about doctors and all of that. As much as they're incredible, oh my God, they're incredible. They're also at work. It's also
Yes,
business at the end of the day. And what the therapist who sees me now also told me is that I must understand that as soon as they put me on chronic medication, it means that I need to keep seeing them.
Of course.
He's not saying that's what they intended, but I need to
Yes.
keep that in mind. And I need to use my own discretion when it comes to, do I need this medication?
Love
And
that.
the one I got now, that's the one.
Wow. So now it's the chickenpox medication. You're walking to the pharmacy.
I go home.
You go home. Then what?
I go
couldn't
home.
struggle to eat
I'm
and then,
struggling to eat. I think I
Yeah.
had like a piece of. I was trying to eat everything. When my mom wasn't home, because I came back a bit sooner than I was supposed to come back, so she wasn't home. So I now have chickenpox, and I tell her don't come home. She's supposed to come back the same day, so I have chickenpox now. So I tell her don't come home because I have
It's
chickenpox.
contagious.
I need to quarantine for a bit. I'm alone. So I'm eating this now, I'm eating that there. I'm literally surviving on like 2 bites because it's so painful.
Sure.
I have ulcers in my mouth and my throat, but I'm thinking it's fever, chickenpox, that's what happens. And then I try to go to bed. This medication I'm on goes, I'm still taking the medication. I wasn't told to
Still
stop.
taking it.
I take that medication and the new medication, I go to bed. I wake up at about midnight and I am on fire. At this point, it felt like someone had lit a stove in my body and left it there, and the fire was coming from inside. And it was so crazy for me to understand. I didn't understand how, I'm like, am I that sick? Do I have COVID? Is it COVID and chickenpox? Is this a COVID type of chickenpox? I'm trying to understand all this. Now, something is, I keep looking at the Steven Johnsons, and my symptoms are looking more and more like it.
Okay.
At some points, I fell asleep again, and I woke up in the morning. When I woke up in the morning, it took about 5 minutes for me to realize that it's really, I got up, I could barely lift my head. I'm thinking, let me go eat so I can take my medication. Because we believe in medication so much that I'm like, I just need to take it. Because, chickenpox, you just have to wait it out, right? So I get up, I try to put my feet on the ground, and there's blisters under my feet.
No.
I can't put my feet on the ground. I get on my knees to try and crawl. I try to put my hands down, there's blisters on my hands. I crawl to the kitchen. I'm still trying to eat so I can
drink that medication that is adding the fire.
Yes, ma'am. I go to the kitchen. I try to eat something. I can't chew now. The sores, the blisters are all over. I remember my mom says when she came home, there was like food, there was food on the floor. There was food on the counter. So at that point, I realized I need to call the ambulance now. And when I called the ambulance, I didn't even know what number the ambulance was. I'm like 911. I don't know but I figured it out.
Yeah.
I was in
Sure.
I was in a moment of stress, and it was instant. I don't even know what I did, but I figured out the ambulance number. I called it. When I tried to speak, I realized I couldn't speak at that point. The blisters were like in my throat, in my mouth, everywhere.
So you didn't realize how bad
But
this
got
reaction
bad
is
quickly
getting.
as well.
It got
bad
bad.
quickly.
Yeah. I think
Before
from
you could
midnight
find
when
them.
you woke up, like that was when your body was on fire. That was enough.
That was enough. But I'd never had chickenpox, and my mom had a very severe case of chickenpox as an adult. It was so
you
bad.
thought
that
it's normal.
I thought maybe I'm just having the same one. I'm being a baby. Let me just cough it. Tough it out. Until I couldn't speak. I barely was able to articulate to the ambulance. All I said was like where I am and that they need to come now. I had been so sick in the past couple of days arriving, I hadn't even unpacked my bag. So I just crawled to my room again. I pulled my bag, one of the bags, crawled to the door, managed to open the door, and I threw my bag outside and I just laid in front of the door so that they could see me. The ambulance came quite quickly. I was quite impressed. But now the ambulance belongs to the same doctor who... So they take me back to him.
Hey.
And he gives me the same injection he's been giving me for the past 3 days. I look at him, he looks at me, and I'm just like, I could see he was also ashamed of himself. I'm looking at him like, dude.
I mean, is he now realizing that this is more serious than what he thought?
Yeah.
And he's giving you the same treatment. He's giving you an injection again.
Yeah.
Why is he not sending you to hospital?
Oh, no, he sent me to the hospital now, but before the hospital, they took me to him so that they could stabilize me.
Oh, I see, because they don't know how severe the situation is.
Yeah, they realized things were really bad, so they didn't want to take me to the hospital. Now, but get this, the hospital that I'm going to, his son is my doctor.
Yo.
So I get to the hospital. I don't remember a lot of that, but at that point, everywhere I went, I was carrying my little bag of pills, and I was like, these are the pills I'm on, and I have Steven Johnson's. I got to the hospital, I told them the same things. Crazy thing about Steven Johnson's is that because it's so rare, not a lot of health practitioners have ever come across it. They barely know what it is. Like even now with my visits to different hospitals, every time I tell them I have Steven Johnson syndrome, they come up with the craziest things. I hear nurses saying the craziest things, and I'm just like, wow. Like to the point
rare
where...
then, hey? So they hear it from you for the first time.
I must explain now. I don't think they hear about it for the first time, but the details, because there's so many diseases in hospitals.
And because you don't treat it every day, it's
Yeah.
like you have to remember, like,
Textbooks.
Konja, how do we test this one again?
Exactly. And because it's a reaction, everybody's immune system, there are basic things like the skin thing everybody gets, but not everybody has their lungs affected. Not everybody, it doesn't go to inside the eyes for a lot of people. Some people don't get pneumonia. Some people don't lose their nails. The level
it
at
varies.
which it varies. And now the problem is because it's triggered by medication, they're scared to medicate me now. So now the only thing that they know doesn't make it worse is what this doctor gave me. So I don't know how many days I was there. I think I was in that hospital for a couple of days. Eventually, I call my mom and I tell her, I'm in hospital. And she's like, what? Why are you in hospital? The last time she spoke to me, I had chickenpox. I was laughing. Now I'm in hospital. I try to explain. She comes to the hospital. And one of the first things she realized is that the hospital didn't have the capacity to treat me. Because the pneumonia was one of the first things that kept getting worse. Because remember, I'm getting the blisters inside and out. So my lungs, there's water retention, there's water going in my lungs because of the blisters. Blisters have water in it. So there's blisters in my neck. So I have the pneumonia and I'm like coughing up all this phlegm. And every time I cough it out, they're not even suctioning me. They're giving me a piece of tissue to spit it out. So they're giving me the highest dose of the Voltaren that I'd been having since the first day I got sick. And then they're just increasing the dose. I'm blurry, I don't know what's going on. My mom's like, no, they can't do this. She realized the day where I apparently signed a consent form. In the state that I was in, signed a consent form, and they operated on me. And they removed, skin. Apparently what they treat Stephen Johnson, they remove the blisters that are forming so that your skin doesn't, it can remove the infection, and so that it can give you the space for your skin new skin to grow, basically. Because you don't have skin where they have to take skin off. So they did that. Apparently, I said it's okay, and my mom came back, and I was bandaged up, from all the way, and then I had this piece of plastic. I don't know what the hell was going on, because there was water. I guess it was. I don't know what was going on with that. That day, she said to me, I need you to okay me to take you out of this hospital, and then eventually I was like, can we leave? The doctors didn't want to take me. They didn't want to transfer me to another hospital. It took us forever. We ended up having to pay for the ambulance ourselves because the doctors wouldn't okay it. Eventually we did. I moved to Alberta Hospital. That's the hospital that saved my life. First of all, they weren't even, the grace of God. God's miracle works long before you know what's happening, The doctors, because the other hospital had started working on me, Stephen Johnson's is rare. You don't take, if something seems like you're going to fail, how many people would take that? If a case, here's a case for you, and you can see that the chances of you passing are so rare. Most people don't take it. Okay. But for some reason, I was speaking to the doctors that treated me now and are so close. So after all of it had happened, they told me, when my case came up, they didn't want to take it. And one of the doctors was like, let's take it. And they were like, are you sure? And he was like, let's take it. So they took my case. They were not supposed to take it. I was already being treated by another hospital.
Yeah.
So
they didn't have to, and they were not obliged to.
They had every reason not to take it. Because how often do you take something that the chances of you failing
so they took a risk.
Stacked up? They took that risk.
Yeah.
And they got me in. I was in an isolated room. So within 2 or 3 days, I don't even remember arriving there, but apparently I was yapping on and on even when I was there. I don't remember. And within a day, they induced me into a coma that ended up being 6.5 weeks.
What?
Yeah. So it was only supposed to be just a couple of days until they can, because my heart rate was going up, because I could see also, I was stressing. I could see I'm wasting away. So I think a big part of it was that so that it would, also I didn't have skin. So if I was awake, I'm moving around. So they just thought, let us induce this one until we can sort this out. It ended up being 6.5 weeks.
In coma?
Yes, ma'am.
Hectic.
Where I was in theater 3 times a week. They're removing the skin.
3 times a week?
3 times a week. Because now I don't have a skin barrier. So what had happened was, because it wasn't caught for so long, and because it wasn't being treated for so long, it spread. So think about a fire, right? If this building started a fire there and someone poured petrol on it and it got bigger, the bigger the fire got, the harder it would be to stop it. The harder, so you don't know what to use to stop it. So they're trying all these things, and the tricky part is that you can try something and it can make it worse, right? And that's what happened.
So it was like an experiment, basically.
Exactly.
They have to keep trying until they figure something out.
They don't even know really how they figured it out, to be honest. They don't really know. When I asked them, they're like, all we can say is a miracle. It's a miracle.
It's a miracle, literally.
That's all they said. My doctors, as much as they work so hard. My doctors and nurses, it was tense in that place. When I woke up, the stories I was hearing from the nurses and the doctors, it was tense. And my mom was there every single day. When I say every single day, I don't mean she's coming in to visit.
Shout out to mommy.
Shout out to my mommy. Okay. Me being here, this is all my mother's work. From just her negotiating with the Lord to keep me on this planet for a little longer. It's all her. The doctors at some point came to her and said that, we've tried everything we could. Our biggest concern now is that she's lost all of the skin. The skin is the biggest organ in the body, apparently. And I've lost 75% of that. It exposes my entire body to infection.
Exactly.
I haven't eaten for 6.5 weeks. I've been on antibiotics. The biggest fear was that my organs would shut down. People don't usually come back from a coma that's that long, without being brain dead or, something not ever being able to function that way. So they told her, they're like, we're doing our best, but we're at a point where we've never dealt with the severity of the case. So anything can happen at this point, and we just want you to prepare you for that. And she said, no, I already spoke to the Lord. I asked the Lord to keep my child. So you go there and you do what you need to do.
She was prayed up.
Faith like potatoes, that's my mama.
Sure.
Okay, in the darkness, pitch dark, she will still say that we are going to come out of this somehow, and it's going to be great. And like from the time I woke up, I remember the one time so when I woke up, what this condition does, remember, it burns you from the inside out. So, imagine skin graft burning together. What happens is when skin burns together, it sticks together. So my eyes were stuck to my eyeballs.
Wait, what?
When I woke up, the first time I woke up, when they started waking me up in the 7th week, I woke up, but my eyes were not open for the first. I don't know how long it was, because I didn't realize that my eyes were, like I was awake. I thought I was still dreaming, because my eyes weren't open. But I was moving and doing, so everything that I thought I was dreaming about, your brain is incredible.
You're doing it.
It finds a way to,
fact,
it finds a way to sort of explain what's happening without the reality. So I was dreaming all of these wonderful things, and I was like awake and moving. They had to tie my hands to the bed because I had all of these machines, and I was pulling machines out because I had no idea what was going on.
What's going on? Yeah.
At some point, I ripped out the thing, the NGT pipe that
oxygen,
feeds you.
yeah.
The
Oh,
oxygen
the one
pipe
that
wasn't
feeds
here.
you.
I had one of those intubators, so I was intubated. I whipped out this oxygen. I had
No way.
injections on here. I whipped those out. So they tied my hands to the bed until my eyes were open. What they were expecting is that, so I had these tape things that were sort of supposed to stop my eyes from sticking to my eyeballs.
Keep your eyes open.
Yeah, but they didn't. This one completely stuck to my eyeballs. Eventually this one opened a little bit.
Your eye.
Yes,
got
so
stuck to your
the eyelid
eyeball.
sticks to the eyeball. It grafts basically. When it's burning, while the chemical burn is still taking place, it heals that way. Because remember, the coma was also very long. So I started healing before my eyes were open. So these things were not working. As much as they try to hold them open like this, they stuck. Like if you look at my eyes, you can see the movement's very limited. I have quite big eyes. So a lot of it are still stuck a little bit here. I had to have a bunch of surgeries to have them open. At some point, I went blind completely because it is like a pro-inflammatory condition. So even after it's been stopped, your body's still very prone to inflammation. And then it tries to heal itself very quickly. But I'll get to the blind part. So I wake up and eventually my eyes open and now I'm intubated. So because I had pneumonia, so I couldn't breathe. And they're worried that I can't breathe. So they're taking it out, but now I can't talk because I'm intubated. So I am so confused. I am incredibly confused. Because when I first woke up, I actually thought what I had been dreaming is what had happened. So
So what were you dreaming about?
Girl. I think they call them coma nightmares. Like when you're sedated. I think it just depends on where your subconscious or
Takes you.
Yeah,
You just
takes
escape, basically. You escape with the reality. Your mind just finds a place.
I think your conscious spends time with your subconscious. So my whole life basically flashed before my eyes in this time. A lot of things that I had thought were a certain way, a lot of things were they say that a lot of what we think is real is not. It's just how we chose to perceive it.
Perspective,
Perspective. And my subconscious was showing me that the perspective that you had is not real. There's so many situations where I thought I was mistreated, so many situations where I thought I was underappreciated, where it turns out my subconscious was showing me that actually these people were doing the best they could with what they knew. My late father, I spent a lot of time with him, and I got a lot of closure actually during my coma dreams, nightmares really. I think It's so crazy because I can't say it's
I think it's a near-death experience. It feels like it. It sounds like it.
It sounds like it, but I didn't die, so I can't tell you.
Yeah.
You know? But there's a lot of... The fact that I was spending time with a lot of people who are no longer alive means that it was definitely... The veil was very thin, or somehow I went to the other side and came back. But, you know... There was no light, let me tell you that. There was no bright light. I think the one moment I remember in the dream where it felt like I was about to go, I walked into this room, this dark room, and the air in my lungs just, I remember fighting to breathe. I remember I remember all of what you dream, you feel it. Like, it was some really scary dreams, and it's like you feel it. And I remember in this room, I was like fighting, and I was sweating, and I don't know how long it was, and then eventually the air came back, and I was breathing again. So I don't know if that was like the moment, but it's not like what I've heard from other people's near. Okay. There was no light. There was definitely no. It was very scary. It was very dark, and like in all of them, it was almost like all my biggest fears. I was living them.
Sure.
And I remember it would go on and on and on and get like as bad as it could, and then it would switch to another one, and it would seem like I am like it's better now, and then it would just get worse and worse and worse. And
that's tormenting though.
It's terrible. And when I woke up, when my eyes snapped open, so what they were expecting both my eyes to do is that eventually with me being awake and like the muscle, if I have any muscle in my face, it would sort of snap open. This one managed to, this one was stuck. And they kept saying I need to try and open it, and I was like, what are you talking about? When I opened like my eyes, I thought I was having another dream. I thought it was another thing where I was, opened my eyes again, and then I see a nurse, she's wearing white, and I'm like, oh, I'm in heaven now. I'm in heaven. So, and how I woke up was, usually I would wake up like this, but in that, I think because my eye opened and I could see stuff, I realized this was different. So I sort of sat up, and the nurse got a fright. Crazy thing though, I was in an isolated room. What I saw that time were beds. Like, I was in an isolated room, but I saw beds with people in it. Like,
no way.
Many beds, like maybe at least 6. And there was someone sitting next to me here, like a young man. And when I got up and looked at him, he looked at me too, and he got a fright that I could see him. So I was like, okay.
Where
and then
were
I saw
you,
the
girl?
nurse. I don't know, girl. I don't know. Maybe I was I was delirious a lot of the time. So it could have also been that. Also, because maybe the veil was still a little bit thin, so maybe, you know.
So, yeah, I think
We
your
are light
spiritual eyes were...
We are light
like,
beings.
Physically, you are like... You know, in bed and stuff, but I think your spiritual eyes might have. But it's wild. You're in a hospital, you're seeing beds and people, but you're alone in the room.
I'm alone in the room, but I didn't realize I was alone at that time. I just thought I was in the hospital. So I see the nurse after I saw the guy next to me. She turns around and she looks at me and she's like, "Has your mother seen you?" That's when I realized I was still alive. I'm like, has my mother seen me? I'm alive. Because how the dreams went, at first I could see my mom, I could see my brother, and then I stopped seeing my mom. You know, and then I was in space at some point. At some point, I was in space. Literally, I was in space in the dreams. Apparently, Earth was burning up. I was in space. So when they said my mom, girl, when they said your mom, I was like, whew, my mom, which means I'm still alive, right? And then I would fall asleep. I was asleep all the time, and eventually my mom came. I remember seeing my mom for the first time. I opened my eyes, and there she was. And I was like, oh my gosh. My mama, and she spoke to me, and like, I'm trying to talk to her now. I don't understand why I can't speak, sorry. I don't understand why I can't speak, because now I'm talking to her, and she's trying to explain to me that, you know, you can't speak. Now I'm thinking what I was dreaming about, because a lot of my fears are, I guess, around my mom. My mom was in a lot of pain. She was there was a time when we were sitting in a house of snakes. It was really scary, okay? So I'm thinking what I had dreamt was real. So I'm looking at my mom, and I want to say to her, like, are you okay? You know, what
I'm sure you had so much to tell
her
and ask her.
And I can't speak. And she's trying to explain to me, like, you know, this is what happened. So she could tell I want to know what happened. She said she told me that about maybe 20 times, because I kept forgetting, and I'd fall asleep and wake up again, fall asleep and wake up again. Every time I woke up, because my vision wasn't clear as well. I didn't know that my vision was bad. I didn't know that my one eye was closed. So I think I was still just delirious. But I see my doctors, and they had been in my dreams. When I saw them, the voices that I had been hearing, I'm like, them. These are the people. And they were doctors in my dreams as well.
Doing what?
Weird things. The nurses were terrible in my dreams. They were terrible people. It was horrible in the dream. So when I met them, I was like, oh.
So you knew these people from the dreams. I mean,
The only person I hadn't heard their voice, but I'd seen in my dreams,
Yeah.
crazy enough. Guys, we're such spiritual beings having a human experience, was my surgeon. I'd never seen him before in real life.
but you met him
But
before.
when I
in
saw
your dream.
him, I knew he was my surgeon. But in my dream, he was like a black market surgeon. In my dream, I had like some sort of kidney problem. That was just my brain trying to explain that I'm sick.
It's like living 3 lives and there's only
It
one
was so
of you.
crazy. It was so
But also,
shitty.
I understand the confusion when you wake up because it's like, I was with you yesterday, I was with you last
Yeah.
week. You did an operation on me.
Yeah. And like, I didn't know it had been that long. I think the thing that really upset me is when I found out that I thought it was like a weekend, you know? My mom didn't explain the detail of how long it had been until the doctors came. And every time they walked in, they would be like, miracle baby. Because they know they didn't do it. They did so much work. They did everything they
Yes,
could.
it
But
couldn't
they
have
don't
been-
know
it couldn't
what
have
worked.
been them.
Yeah, they
Must
knew
have
it
been
was
God.
God. They knew it was God. They knew that my chances of survival were less than 5%. Did I tell you that? Did I tell you that when they came to mom to tell her that they said that the numbers at this point are sitting at less than 5%?
Sure.
So yeah, that's why they said. And then all of a sudden, everything just turned around. Like they said, it was like in week number 4, where apparently what would happen was when they took the skin off, I would swell to like this size. And my mom, understand that my mom would get there before guests, like the
Yeah, the
visitors'
visiting
house, and she
hours.
would leave after they switched off the lights in the passages so that she would leave.
Shame.
So she was sitting there
the
watching
whole
me.
experience. 6 weeks.
She said the one day she walked in and there was pus dripping out. Because like remember, the
From
blisters are inside.
inside.
She said she walked in and I was like this big and there was pus dripping from my mouth. I looked like a corpse. Like you know how corpse
Yeah,
start
yeah.
malfunctioning. And she said she walked in and she just wiped and she prayed. She wiped the pus.
she
was
went through
sitting
it,
there.
eh?
Like she didn't sit outside. She sat next to me.
Yeah.
The whole time. I remember even when I woke up, like every time I'd fall asleep, she would just be next to me. Every time I woke up, she was next to me. And because the days felt like years, every time she was gone, I thought she didn't come visit me the day before. And I was like, you haven't been here for a week. And she's like, I don't think I was saying it in my mouth. At some point, I thought I could communicate with her telepathically. I was so crazy when I woke up. I was so delulu when I woke up. Because my brain also had not
Was
been...
functioning differently.
And I was like a baby. I was crying for everything. That's why I was saying I don't understand why I didn't realize I didn't have tears, because I was crying all the time. I realize now why babies cry all the time. You're just laying there.
Oh.
You know, how do you communicate like what you need?
Yeah.
You know? So very, you know what, when I woke up, I didn't realize how bad things were. I think this was the scar because my arms didn't have as much scarring as like what I could see here, and I couldn't see well. So I thought I looked like this. Like you know, I thought I'd like yes.
Like
most,
the scarring that you get when you've literally
Yes.
burnt.
Yes, I
Yeah.
thought I looked like a bit of this, a bit of that. You know, I didn't. What I looked like was that, just that. Like my
Ooh,
face,
is it?
and it was just that. Because they had to take off
Like
skin
no
off over
pigmentation
75%.
at all?
Nothing. Like some of it had started going back. Some of it looked like, you know, what you have here. But
Okay.
most of my,
Yeah.
I didn't have the layer of skin. Remember, they had to take out layers of skin. Then they bandaged me up like a mummy because I didn't have a skin barrier. So those bandages during like that time was so to form like a skin barrier. They're special bandages. That's what I was doing in theater. They would remove the layer.
I see the ones that look like it's a net.
Yes.
But it's very fine one.
Yes.
Yes. So they put it
Yes.
and then it builds skin
Until
cells
the skin
apparently. But
grows.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I had. Even on my eyes, I had like these black bandages because the skin in my eyes was also gone. Like the skin around my eyes. I looked like this. So they didn't let me see myself for a while. So now my mom and I are trying to communicate every day. They're scared to take out the intubation, the intubation thingamabobbies because they're not sure if I'm going to be able to breathe on my own yet. So now I'm sitting there for 2 weeks, unable to speak. I don't understand what's going on. I forget. It was I've got blisters still in my face. I've got blisters still in my back, my mouth, inside, everywhere. You know, it's still very, I can't move. I remember I was laying there with my hands like this. I don't have any muscles. I lost over 30 kgs. So I don't have, you know, your body, everything that you do, your muscles, you need muscles
Yes,
for.
you
From
need muscles.
thinking
for
to breathing.
functionality, everything.
And when you don't use that, you lose it. When your body's in that much shock, your body says, let's preserve what we can. So it takes from everything else. Everything else you're not using takes muscle. Luckily for me, I had been exercising and looking after my body very well. That was my obsession. Still is, more than ever now. So luckily for me, I had enough muscle. That's part of why, as I said, God works his miracle long before you think it's happening. So that one of the main reasons my body was able to sort of we try to explain it through science, to sort of stay alive, is because I had muscle is expensive, so it will cater to a lot of your body's needs if you need it. So that's
If you need it,
yeah.
so
So
jumps
that's
in.
So my
you
body
had banked.
Yeah, I had a
Yes,
lot in the
honey.
bank. I was 90 kgs, and when I woke up, I was 52 kgs. Yep. Probably less than that. When I checked, it was about like 3 weeks later.
So like you basically lost half
Yeah,
of your body.
yeah, yeah.
Your
I
body
remember
weight at that
feeling
time.
like my bum was my biggest. I'd worked so hard on that.
And it's gone.
And it felt like a sack of potatoes. You know, like an empty sack of potatoes? I was so mad.
Like, no, not after all the hard work.
And that little did I know that what I looked like in the rest of my body. And at that point, I didn't have eyebrows. I was swollen in the face. And I was just this pink thing that was swollen without eyebrows, without anything.
Where is your doctor that prescribed this medication to you?
Gone long. We're not even in the same area anymore. We're like we're back to Durban side now.
Okay.
Remember,
But
'cause I
now
moved-
have they figured out 100% that
This is
you
the
are
cause.
allergic to an ingredient in this medication that you are prescribed?
Yes.
Imagine being fine until you are 30 and then things go left. Trying to adjust your life must
Yeah.
have, like, the reality of wait, is this me?
Yes, that was it. That was the biggest thing. I was like, this can't be happening to me. Every time I woke up, I thought I had dreamt the whole thing. Then I realized I'm still in this reality. I remember there was a lady next door who was struggling to breathe, right? And they kept telling her, like, breathe, breathe. And I realized then how far your brain will, if you tell, there's certain things, like the power of the brain is incredible, because apparently she had like some brain thing, Bobby, and a part of her brain had sort of disconnected to her bodily functions. The sort of mind to muscle connection she had a problem with it. So she had to be taught, like, breathe. At some point later on that night, I thought I couldn't breathe, and then a doctor came in and a nurse came in and she told me, listen, getting better is all here. You were nothing a couple of weeks ago, so I know that it doesn't feel like you are much right now, but we are so happy with what you see now. So the work that's left is on your side now. It's been 6.5 weeks of us losing our minds. Your mom's been cheering us on, crying, and they said more than anything they didn't want to disappoint her. They were so worried. Most of them said they were scared to come in and I would die while they were there because they were so scared of how my mom would react. That's how much, and sometimes people feed off love. People feed off.
Absolutely.
They fed off that. They fed off how much my mother cared for me.
And they translated it to
Yeah.
how they took care of you.
Yes.
Wow.
They even said, sometimes we see things all the time and we see certain people in certain states and we know what someone usually looks like before they go. And you look like that long before you got better. And most of us would have written you off, That's because we work on our own experiences. Because your mom was here every day. The delusion she had, eventually we fed off. So that's the first day I realized that if I can channel my brain to tell me that, and as soon as I started doing it, as soon as I started to feel better, as soon as I thought I was better, as soon as I told myself I am better and I want to get better, I got better. I felt better each and every single day. I realized in moments where I didn't feel like I was going to get better, if I didn't think I was going to get better, I got worse. And it's you just concentrating on that. Whatever you focus on will always manifest. And it will expand. It absolutely will. That's just like, I don't think we speak about this enough,
Sure.
Recovery is just improvement, right? It's just improvement from the condition that you're in
That's it.
to the condition that you want to be in. And as much as there were I had so much help. God's miracle was obviously that I had the help that I had. I had an amazing team. I had, there was a lady teaching me how to eat, swallow. There was a lady teaching me how to do everything. Okay, I had like a team of women.
Scratch.
But I learned from that. It's just like the baby steps and just like the decision and all of it. I remember there were so many times where the lady teaching me how to walk would walk in and she'd be like, how are you feeling today? Do you feel like you're up to it? She said, if you decide to do it, You know, it's going to be hard, but you're going to be so much prouder if you do it on this one day. I had an amazing team. I don't know how to, I don't think I can ever articulate in words how incredible they knew what I needed. You know, God gave me exactly what I needed to survive this season all the time. So yeah, I had that. And then very quickly, I think within like 3 weeks, I went from ICU to like an executive medical ward room. They actually wanted to discharge me from the ICU because they were just like, we don't want anything to go wrong. You know, we want to keep you with the same nurses and doctors that you've had. But I got so much better, and they needed the room. And I was like, just take me to, you know, to a normal ward. And we got to the normal ward, and it wasn't much. Like within like a couple of days, I learned how to walk. Within 3 days of being in that different ward, I could walk without the crutches. Couple of days in, eventually it was just like, when I say that when you tell yourself you will be better, it's a choice away. It's a choice. It's actively making that choice in the morning and then just taking the baby steps. Doesn't matter how small they are. Because for me, literally, it took me learning how to blink, me learning how to breathe, me learning how to swallow, me learning how to take the first step, me learning to take a couple more steps, learning to walk with crutches. It's baby steps, you know. It's the choice to take those steps and then just following through and just repetition, consistency. That's all it was. After like 2 weeks, I was like, let me go home, let me go home, let me go home, let me go home. They were like, okay, we're going to let you go home. They let me go home. That was the hardest thing. As soon as I got home, because what I didn't realize, and I would advise anyone who can still stay in hospital, actually, no, I wouldn't advise that. But financially, if you're struggling financially, because I know that my family took a very big toll, because healthcare outside of hospital, especially if you need that much.
More expensive.
It's so expensive. Like, it's almost like it's not a need the way it's so expensive.
Sure.
So I really feel like I played my family in terms of, my mom rather, you know, because she was the one. My mom was changing my diaper. I almost changed my diaper when I was in the hospital. Obviously, after I left the hospital, you know. But when I couldn't walk, she would choose to do it instead of the nurses. At 30 years old. Yeah, she would say, no, because my bum was sore. So she
She's like, let me
She's
do
like,
it.
she'll be
It's
gentle.
my baby.
I was literally her baby. People who had never met me were so shocked from the hospital to see me because they thought
she's God given.
she'd be sitting down crying and they'd be like, what's wrong? And she'd be like, my baby's sick. And then when they saw me, they were like, this is the baby? So yeah.
I'm curious though, like,
Yeah.
how was your reaction when you saw yourself for the first time?
Yes. Oh, I really didn't think it was as bad. Even me seeing myself, they didn't want to let me see myself because they thought it would really, I was doing really well at that point.
Yeah.
So they thought it would really mess up my mental health. But I lied. I said that I'd lied to my mom and I told her that while she was gone, I asked to use a phone and I saw myself on somebody's phone. Because I just really wanted to see myself. And then she let me see myself. So now I had to pretend that I'm not as devastated as I am because apparently I already see myself.
Yes.
But what I just thought, it's over. I just thought, like...
Did you?
I thought that's it. I thought, what the hell? You know? Because also I was a beautician. I
Why?
still
Did
am,
you
obviously.
did you feel like you looked very, very, because we don't know
looked
how you
terrible.
looked before.
I looked...
So
I
to
was,
you, did it look like you
I was
like,
who's
it's
this
not
alien?
you?
I was like, who is this alien? I was like, how am I supposed to ever live? How am I supposed to ever go out into the world? I looked like I was this color everywhere. My face. So I thought I was like this. It turns out in my face, I was just this color. And it was like pink. It was like this, but pink. And I didn't have eyebrows and I was swollen. And like, because it also affects your hair, whichever part of the skin is affected,
Yep.
whatever's on the skin, like that's why I don't have nails. I woke up, I had no nails as well. And now my hair, like this part of my head had effect. So my hair was like here. So now I have no hair and I'm just this thing and I'm swollen. I was just like, no ways. Actually, the part of me seeing my face took me out quite badly. Like it took me a really long time to recover from seeing my face. Yeah, I was okay with everything else, like just working hard on being alive. Because I realized being alive was a miracle.
blessing.
Like I realized, like when everybody else had, so many people came to just see me in the hospital. Surgeons would come to just see if I'm really alive. That's how much of a write-off I was, according to what they have seen and their experiences. So when I saw so in their case, they would come in and say, you look amazing. You know, because from them, there's a picture that I saw where I'd look like someone who had ran over by a car. Like, because that's my skin, they'd taken off the bandages and my skin, I had no skin. So when I saw myself, I was just like, how? And also I used to work, I was a practicing beautician, you know, like one that does makeup and nails. I have no nails, I have no skin, I'm like, what is to become of me, you know?
What now?
What now?
It's like you have to carry a new identity, literally
Yeah.
and figuratively so.
Yeah, and I'd never
Because-
heard of anything or anyone ever experiencing something like this. Like, the one thing I love about the internet is that whatever you've gone through, someone has gone through it and documented it. It's absolutely beautiful.
I'm sure that gave you a lot of courage.
Yes.
Is that why you decided to start sharing your story, because you also want to give courage to someone else?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. There was besides the courage, actually, I was very selfish in me sharing my story. Let me tell you that. The pictures that you see, like of really when I was really badly, my mom actually took. My mother and my brother were actually the ones who encouraged me to share my story.
Yes,
I think they realized how alone I felt and how much I was hiding when I went back home. So without having skin, it means you don't have pores to sweat. So now I'm outside and everything was hot. Everything was stinging. I couldn't use... Everything was difficult. Everything. When I say everything was difficult, I can't be in the cool air because it affects my eyes. So when the air is dry, my eyes are dry, my eyes are sore. And at this time, I still had blisters in my eyes. So if it got like dry, it would be terribly painful. But now my skin is burning, but I don't have pores to sweat. So I need to be in a cool environment. So it was like completely... You know, and
It's a different life.
A different life. And now I'm going back home, and my every time I would see someone, and I would see the look on their faces, because I was still trying to come to terms with it. I projected that. So whatever I was feeling, I thought that same person, and they were. It was scary.
And because people are human,
Yeah.
they're gonna look at you and you can see in their face
It was horrific.
how they feel.
Like they don't have to say anything
They
to
don't have
you.
to say anything.
No.
It's just like
No. And people knew I was sick. But also because I had disappeared for so long, nobody knew what kind of illness. Nobody has heard of it as well.
and they probably never thought how bad it was.
Yeah, nobody thought it looked like that bad. You know, people thought I was gonna die as well. Like, how do you're in a coma for 6.5 weeks? My own family thought I was gonna die. I think it's also like a measure of protection. You know, fine, she's gonna die. Let's just start accepting that because it just looked that way. You know, now I look this horrible way, and I see people, you know, and it's a reflex. When you see something that's scary, I had to put myself in people's shoes. Like, the best way I got over people's reaction was for me to say, if I saw someone that looked like me, how would I react? It was natural, but some people would jolt. Some people would go like, you know, you could see like they were. So I was like, no ways, I'm not going anywhere. You know, so I stayed in the house, and my mom and my brother were like, you know, you could first of all, we need to spread awareness. People don't know that this is even possible. So that was the biggest reason that, you know, I told myself, if I start sharing this story, you know, it could save a life or whatever. But the reason, the day that I started sharing my story, I'll be honest, I was tired of hiding. I was tired of being miserable. I was tired of, you know, not being able to go outside into the world. So I thought, if I could just, you know, put this out once, then when people see me also, it wouldn't be this whole thing, you know? So that was the day that I started posting. I told my ego, that's how convinced my ego, listen, dude, let's just do this so that people can see us.
And how did you
know?
feel? What was the response like?
It was amazing. It was amazing. As soon as I started sharing, the load felt so much lighter. Like, the reception, I've been on like TikTok. I've seen people drag people who are in situations that they are not responsible for. So I was very scared for that as well. But I thought, this is my reality. You know, these are the cards that I've been dealt. At that point, I was tired of being miserable. I would cry all day, every day. And I was tired of making the people around me miserable. My mom mainly, because she was the one person that was around me the whole time. People struggled to be around me. People struggle to be around pain because it reminds me of their own pain. Right? And I had to understand and accept that, not from a place of, you know, resentment, but from a place of understanding that, and also people who were suffering from my pain, it was clear, you could tell. So let's just all heal wherever we need to heal, you know, our own way. But I had made the decision at that point that I don't want to be miserable anymore. That I realized also that I was getting better from just that little decisions that it wasn't as loud at that time, but I
Yes, but
realized like
making
me
a
telling
difference.
myself that I'm getting better, doing the little exercises is actually making me better. So why don't I just go all out? Like, if I can get this much better in a month, surely I can do better.
So the
In closing.
yeah, so the doctor that initially prescribed this medication that caused all this, are they aware of what you had to go through because of what they prescribed for you? And what responsibility, if they did take any responsibility, accountability of any sort? I mean, is this a case of negligence? Is this a case of, am I suing you? Is it a case of you should have done your own research, or you making peace? You just, like, how do you deal with something like this? Because obviously, if we're sharing it on a public platform like this, yes, a lot of people are learning a lot of lessons, but also like accountability. What happens then? You know.
So I was very angry, of course, initially, but I realized also very quickly that I didn't have the energy at that point to fight that, right? So I waited it out a bit. And by the time I had a bit of more energy, I wasn't as angry, but I wanted accountability. I wanted them to know that people are not just going to take this laying down. So I emailed the hospital a bunch of times because they ignored me for a while. I think I emailed them for about 3 months before they responded.
Yeah.
Every week I was sending them an email. I told myself every week how many weeks? I think I said I'm going to email them for 6.5 weeks. The same weeks I was in a coma. And then if they don't, I'm just going to go online and I'm going to tell the world what has happened. And I'm going to tell them exactly what happened and what hospital I was in. And the facts, right?
Yeah.
I think it was only when I told them the last time that I'm actually just going to go on social media and tell people what has happened. And then they responded, and then they said that the doctor that had prescribed the medication for me doesn't work for the hospital. The doctor, then they said they forwarded my emails to her. The doctor sent her lawyers to respond, and her lawyers said basically that I was thoroughly counseled about the possibilities of having this reaction, and she's very sorry, but that there was no way of her knowing. And there is no way of knowing that you can get Stevens-Johnson syndrome, right? That is a fact. But there were things that went on that are negligence. The tricky thing with the doctors and all of this is that they are very well protected. And with being in a mental health clinic, whatever you say is just like, you are not well.
Yes.
You can't tell
I was
us
about to
that.
say.
So the person took advantage of that then.
You are a crazy woman. And the thing is,
Or they can claim they told you something even when they didn't.
exactly. If I
'Cause
was
she
thoroughly
was not-
counseled, would I have not ran to the doctor with the medication on the first day?
But exactly, you would have remembered.
Like-
They gave you a warning about this
Like-
particular medication.
So yeah, they were like, no, you've been thoroughly counseled, and yeah, that's just it. We can't really help. But it was a lawyer. She didn't even respond, and that was that. And so when I emailed her, my biggest thing was that she knows that people are aware of what they're doing, and I just hope that that's enough for her to think a little. Once or twice next time she decides to,
And to never
do
do
that
it
to
again.
someone. Yeah, but she is quite a pill popper. You know who you are, Dr. Lady. You are a pill popper. Okay, she will give you like 20 pills. Like the pills that I was taking in that hospital were a handful. A handful.
And I'm sure it wasn't that bad for you to take so many pills.
The last time I went, I wasn't medicated at all, and I was fine. So you don't have to. They choose to. Also, it's a business at the end of the day.
It is. Because
There
now
are people that
you're going to
need
be
medication.
dependent on that medication.
Yeah, definitely. And then you have to keep seeing them. You can't get your prescription after 3 months until you've gone to see them again. Now you must pay. Now you must pay. You must see a therapist. Because if you have a problem, of course, then you need a therapist, right? So you need to see the therapist and the psychiatrist. So they really emphasize that you're going to be on this medication for the rest of your life.
Have you forgiven her?
I have forgiven everyone at this point in my life. I have forgiven everyone. I don't agree with the practices. Also because mental health medication is still very new. Like, it's not something we should be so willy-nilly doing whatever we want to do just because you can get away with it. I think the biggest reason is that you can get away with it. It's very difficult to prove that. Not really, but, people don't want to go that extra mile. Doctors have money also.
Yes.
So
they
they
can
just
fight.
it's just like, how do you put someone on like 7 different pills? How?
Like,
We're walking around those passages drugged. We enjoyed it. It was drugged. But it's not necessary. It's not necessary.
Sure, you opened my eyes to
see.
something that I don't think I was aware of, how bad it could be, and to also just be very vigilant and careful when taking medication, to know
your
about
own discretion.
ingredients, to ask questions, to
Do your own research.
be careful before you sign all these things, because we put so
read.
much trust in
Even get a
read
Read.
or get a
guys.
second opinion too, because like
Yeah.
what you're saying is that we trust doctors with our life. What
With
they
our
say, you run
lives.
with it. How about getting a second opinion without even telling that doctor what the previous doctor
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
just to verify if do I really have this? Do I really
Do I
need
need
this?
this? Do I need this? Because a lot of what is apparently you're not supposed to give medication with a side effect that is more severe than the condition.
Oh, but that makes sense, right?
There are other conditions that are similar to Stephen Johnson. Some of them make you like paralyzed. They're such crazy conditions. I've learned about so many like reactions that you have, like nervous system reactions that like there's one where you get paralyzed, like from the medication. Your
What?
nervous system.
Why
it
is this
attacks
medication
itself.
legal? Why is such medication legal?
I mean,
Wow.
medication can do amazing things as well. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to sit here had it not been for medication, you know. But it can also be very, very dangerous. So yeah, I don't know.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
This very big disclaimer. It can also be very dangerous. Can save your life, but it can also be extremely dangerous for you.
If you don't need it, don't take it.
Ooh, if you
Don't take
don't
it.
need it, don't
Because
take
you can also get it from antibiotics. You can get it from a medication that you've taken before. It's a very tricky thing.
Yeah, you can. I remember I was on a flight and I had medication and I was reacting to it. I just had that rash, my whole body. Then I
Yeah.
texted my doctor and then she said, stop taking that antibiotic
It might
immediately.
have been Stephen
To
Johnson.
think every time I finished eating, I was running to
that
that,
medi-
medication.
But
You
also it didn't waste time,
ran.
minutes.
Yes.
You reacted
Yeah.
It might have been Stephen Johnson.
immediately.
and I was
It might have even been
sweat.
Stephen Johnson's. A lot of people just get the little rash and
And
then the doctors
blisters,
get them
and
to
she has
stop.
instant blisters.
That's how it starts.
She was like, stop immediately. And I kept taking it because you, like you said, you're like, oh,
You're like, oh, medication. I'm not well, medication.
yes, medication.
Medication,
I need to
medication.
eat. Sorry, excuse me in the flight.
I just need to take my medication.
you make sure.
We make sure.
Don't miss. But also, like, even with things like doctors will tell you, they predict. They're doctors, they're numbers people. There's so many things that were predicted. The quality of life I'm living now is something that I was not ever supposed to. You know, I was supposed to be blind for like, I don't know how long. I was supposed to not be able to walk, not be able. There's so many things. You just need to be a little bit more stubborn, you know, a little bit more stubborn. Say, I want to do that. If you can, if it's not, you know, say you can't how exercise. Do something towards what you would want for yourself. You'll be surprised what the body can do. The body is very restorable.
I love that. Just in closing, how's your vision? Can you see clearly?
This eye has about 1% vision. So this is the eye that was stuck to the eyeball.
1%.
Yeah, this is the eye that was stuck to the eyeball. So they had to remove a piece of skin from here.
Yeah.
So because it's stuck to the eyeball, they had to remove the skin on the eyelid because apparently the skin here and the skin on the eyelid is the same. So they took a piece of skin here and then replaced the skin that was stuck on my eyeball.
Yes.
Sort of took the skin that was on my eyeball off. But because of all that cutting, the eye has scarring. So that's the reason it has 1% vision is because the scarring is so thick.
Scarring.
Okay.
This eye also has scarring. And it was fine until I went outside and got that big wind. Then I actually went blind for a couple of months. A piece of tissue grew over it and the doctors were closed because it was the 1st of January. They were closed until the 10th. So it went unnoticed and untreated for a while.
Yeah.
And the piece grew until like I was blind. So that I've had procedures done. Now I wear these prosthetic mucosal membranes. So the layer that you have that I don't
Yes.
have, I wear these contacts that go on my whole eye. You put like a mix in and then you sort of bend and you put it, and that serves like as a mucous membrane layer,
Okay.
prosthetic one. So that's making the vision. So just like how you would put maybe bio oil on a skin, like a
Yes.
scar,
A scar.
the eye drops that I put in the contacts are supposed to give sort of my eye the environment to heal and get better. So how the scar from bio gets thinner, that's what's going to happen. It's happening actually because that's how I can see now. So now I have about 35% vision on this eye, and I had about like 10 when it was really bad. So it's getting better with the lens, and it continues to get better. Same way like my skin is improving, because remember I look like this, and now the melanin is going back. My nails will grow back as well when the skin around it has. So what the nails and the hair situation is that the melanin goes to the skin first. So when the skin has recovered, then apparently nails grow from melanin as well. That's why you get like this brown. So that's like melanin. But it's not going to go to my nails until my skin has been recovered. The hair here will grow when the skin has grown.
Well, you look gorgeous, girl.
I was about to say,
girl. Thank
you so much for sharing.
it's almost impossible for you not to be beautiful. You are so gorgeous.
Thank you.
I'm like, wow.
Hey,
What an episode.
water, eh?
Yeah. So I think we have a different perspective. We're gonna look at medication differently. We're gonna look at a lot of things differently
Mental
and be
health.
more aware, and as well as mental health, just being aware.
Oh,
And
by the way, you're so well informed about everything. Thank you for educating us
I've done a lot of
of
research.
so many things. Yeah, I love
important,
that.
yeah.
Yo.
Okay, Sam fam, thanks for watching. For myself, Millicent,
And myself, innocent.
and of course, Shaz. It's bye for now.
I've been through the most, been through the most. I've been through the most, through the most. I